role, active in a very negative way in the events in Syria. They have instigated people to do more killing. They have instigated people to lose faith in their government. They have instigated people to commit acts of sectarian violence. Not to say that the Syrian government is a saint or they are completely pure and they have done no mistakes, but the mistakes that the government committed here are no different than the mistakes committed by any government around the world, whether in England, where we're suppressing the recent events in London, whether in France, when they dealt with the revolt of the immigrants. All governments around the world commit mistakes and they do bad things. But I think Al Jazeera took things blown out of proportion, out of context, which is the main factor here, taking things out of context and represented facts in a very misleading way.
Welcome to Al Jazeera.
It's November the 15th, day one of a new era in television news.
I'm Shuli Ghosh.
And I'm Sami Zaidan. This is Al Jazeera.
تناديه بأقرب الكلمات إلى الروح، لكن الولد المصلوب لا يجيب. اسمه ساري وجسده الغض كما الصليب المتدلي من عنق أمه، ينفيان عنه بالقطع تهمة رسمية معلبة، طالما قال أصحابها إن القتلى الذين يتساقطون برصاص الجند في طول البلاد وعرضها هم أعضاء عصابات إرهابية مسلحة أو مندسون سلفيون.
عم بجر غسيل قاعد حدي قال لي بدي اكل، قلت له كل من البراد، قال لي لك الحاره ما فيها شيء اليوم، لك العالم بالطريق معبايه، قال الله يا عمي بدي بسكوتي. قلت قد ما انا، قال جار تنزلي، انا بشتري لابني وبشتري لابني. نزلنا قام قال لي اشتري لي وقيت لحمه، قلت له يا عمي عمل، انا جاي خالك بجيب لك لحمه، قال لي على الطريق. ما شفت الا رصاص بلش بالحاره، جارتي تقوست برقبتها وباجرها وما بعرف ماتت، يمكن ابني واربع شباب عده وويلي اسعف ابني والجيران والشباب وصارت ما بعرف رصاص. هي الحريه، ابني معه بسكوتي ما معه بارودي، ابني عمود تحسني.
يا ابو عبد الجليل العربي انه قال الجيش قتله يا عمي.
ما في جيش وما كان في امن، لو الجيش موجود ابني ما مات. لو الجيش موجود ابني ما مات.
They've also employed false flag fabrications. You have the Hula massacre, in which they actually killed 200 children and claimed that the Syrian army was behind it, when it was revealed that these kids were not wounded due to shelling but due to stab wounds. Later they claimed that it was pro-government militia, Shabiha forces, that killed them. However, it came out in a German newspaper, in fact, by the author Rainer Hermann from Frankfurter Allgemeine Zeitung, that in fact the people that were killed were pro-government. One of them was in fact part of the newly elected Syrian parliament.
Then the members of the Security Council also condemned the killing of civilians by shooting at close range and by severe physical abuse. Most of the killings that took place in Al-Hula are due to this kind of assassination, killing at close range. Not killed due to the artillery shellings, because artillery shellings would not leave the bodies of the victims the way you saw them. Here we are talking about the Algerian killing styles in the early 90s.
It's clear that this was set up to try to discredit the Syrian military and to try to get the population's both inside the Middle East and outside the Middle East, on board to some sort of Western intervention.
And for my family, more pain for us. When the media speak about our army, when they protect us, when we want from our army protect us and defend us from these terrorists, the media and European media and America, they speak about these terrorists, they protect the terrorists. They protect and they speak like our problem with the president, our problem with the freedom. We have freedom and we die for our freedom. This is our problem.
De derrocar gobiernos porque no les gusta a alguien, pues así pasó con Libia. Por supuesto que nosotros reconocemos al gobierno sirio. ¿Y a quién quieres que reconozcamos? A los terroristas esos que están matando gente, tomando ciudades, lanzando bombas. Y es triste saber, leer y tener evidencia de que hay gobiernos europeos que reconocen a los terroristas, chicos. Qué cosa, ¿no? Que reconocen a los terroristas y se reúnen con los terroristas y les financian y les envían dinero y armas. Qué cosa, ¿vale? Por eso digo yo, ojalá los pueblos de Europa sigan despertando y se den cuenta de la realidad y le exijan a su gobierno el respeto a la paz internacional, el respeto a los derechos humanos, el respeto a la soberanía de las naciones, Ramón, eso es sagrado. Y cuando digo Europa también digo Estados Unidos, ojalá los pueblos del norte despierten.
I would have a very clear message for President Assad, which is it is time for him to go. It is time for transition in this regime. Clearly, Britain doesn't support violence.
These were the last moments of Ian Tomlinson's life as he walked home on April the 1st, 2009. PC Simon Harwood was caught on mobile footage hitting him with a baton. Minutes later, he was dead. Yet, on Thursday, PC Harwood was cleared of the killing.
And I don't think any regime that carries out acts as they have against their own citizens, and continue to do so, by the way, should survive.
They marched through London this afternoon to the chants of no justice, no peace. On their posters, the question, who killed Smiley Culture? The police say he did, that the reggae musician from London plunged a knife into his own chest a month ago. But it's a statement which many here asserted beggars belief.
If you said to us that he accidentally fell on the knife, we might have swallowed that. But to tell us that he killed himself, he stabbed himself, don't insult our intelligence.
What more evidence do we need about a regime that has brutalised its own people?
It is 11 months since Mark Duggan's death, and his family are still waiting for answers. Why was he shot dead by armed police?
I'm really surprised at the way they have taken my grandson from me as if he was an animal.
It's very indicative and informative to hear the Prime Minister of England describing the riots and the rioters in England as by using the term gangs, while they don't allow us to use the same term for the armed groups and the terrorist groups in my country. This is hypocrisy. This is arrogance.
شفتوا الانتفاضة الشعبية اللي قاموا بها الفقراء في لندن بالأمس.
You saw the popular uprising carried out by the poor of London.
التي أدت إلى احتراق نصف لندن بالإضافة إلى أكثر من مدينتين في بريطانيا الآن. وشفتوا ماذا تكلم رئيس وزراء بريطانيا كاميرون وقال أن احنا 25,000 عسكري حيقمع هذه التظاهرة وهذه المظاهرة التي تطالب بالعيش والكرامة.
And you all heard Mr. Cameron saying that he will oppress this popular uprising with 25,000 police officers.
وعليه هذه هي الديمقراطية الذين ينادون به.
So this is the democracy they call for.
إذا كان فعلا هذه الديمقراطية اللي ينادي بها فعليه أن يرحل هو من بريطانيا ويتنحى فورا ويستقيل ويخلي الشعب الإنجليزي يقول كلمته.
The behavior of Assad is absolutely unacceptable. You know, he has lost any legitimacy to lead.
Officers fire what appear to be beanbags and unleash a canine into a crowd of women and children.
What we've seen on the part of the Syrian regime has been an unacceptable degree of brutality directed at its people, an unacceptable degree of brutality directed at its people.
The transition to democracy in Syria has begun, and it's time for Assad to get out of the way.
I want to tell something about the West. They're calling for our democracy and our freedom. People are killing in Gaza long time ago, and then killing in Palestine long time ago. They're killing in Somalia, they're killing in Afghanistan, they killed in Libya, they killed everywhere. No one, I never heard